Hello, this is John Kvale, and this is our March capital market review. I know I've got a lot coming at you. I'm doing this outside on a Sunday afternoon. We got some storms coming in, so I will keep this short I still have some honeydews and some weekend stuff to do, but I wanted to get this to you. This is outside, out back on my lap, and I tend to wiggle a lot when we do this, so I'm going to try and keep it steady Eddie. And so here we go. For those of you driving down the wheel, I always say this, we like to do this in a video podcast format, so don't take your hands off the wheel. Stay safe. All right, here we go. I've done something a little bit different this time to keep this short, so I'll be interested in, or shorter, be interested in your comments. I've combined a couple of thoughts, and this doesn't always work because the thoughts don't flow very well, the subject matter that is, but they sure do this time. So first, in our financial planning tip section, we've got taxes. I boldly at the end of the last month thumped our chests and said, oh, we've got our corrected. It was down to 1. Don't worry, we're good. And then we had a couple more trickle in. So the good news is we haven't had very many trickle in. Those that it has occurred, we've notified. And then one other thing that keeps coming up that I want to remind everybody about, and that is, in the event that you did not receive a tax form and you cannot get a replacement, and there was a transaction that happened, get it on your tax return. I've had a lot of these, for whatever reason, occur this year, and leaving it off your tax return is not acceptable. We've got to have it on there, and maybe we don't note what entity it is, but we need to get it on there. So do your best to get the tax form, but if you didn't get a tax form, it needs to go on your tax return. So I left this in actually from last month. All right, cybersecurity, here we go. I did a cybersecurity conference, I attended a cybersecurity conference last week. It was about 4.5 hours long. It was very interesting. I know, nerds. But and I'm going to do a full-fledged post on some of the things, just as a side note. Those of you that are in listen-only mode, here's the link to what I talked about, the increase in spam. And they did talk about this. These were 2 professionals from across the country that came out, and they had literally thousands of interesting data points. I'm not going to spoil the show and I'll be a spoiler, so to speak, and let you know what I'm going to put in the post, but I've got some great information. But one thing is, it's back with a vengeance. Usually comes around summer in our estimate, but spring seems to be what the problems with cybersecurity is. So this came up we talked about Dolly and the AI and its integration. Predominantly started out with Microsoft, and now it's going to be in Chrome, Google at the same time. And they talked about that as well. Be very careful that it's going to be a move that the crooks move towards, and we need to be all on our full alert in letting our computers just take over and run away with them. More on that as well. Very, very interesting. Okay, and also then I combined. This turned out to like a big, giant combination. Those of you that are in listen-only mode, I'm going to the capital markets. Just as a refresher, we do a personal side and we do a capital markets side in most, if not all, of our monthly reviews, and this is our March review. Pickle. Cocoa bonds was an advanced analysis. I actually learned about these in great detail over the last month, and essentially they're preferred bonds, convertible preferred bonds that don't convert very well. Anyway, that explanation, it made our advanced analysis. There's more, those of you that are in listen-only mode, I'm going over the actual explanation of the cocoa bond. It got very deep. And again, remember, our advanced analysis is not meant to be shallow. It's really meant to just give an awareness. So if you see it somewhere, you go, oh, that's what John was talking about. Don't have to teach it. But if somebody brings it up at a party, you read it in the paper, you hear about it, you're like, oh yeah, I remember those were some bonds that look like normal convertible, but they're not. They're a little bit more risky. And then I mixed that with the pickle. The FOMC was in a pickle because they've got a little bit of lack of confidence due to the M2 and the M2 slowdown, which we've talked about. I need to put the link on. I'll get you a link in this. I forgot to put the link in the pilot. But also you've got an M2 slowdown that the FOMC has done with increasing rates and taking money out of the system. Recall, M2 is just a blunt measurement of what dollars are sloshing around the system. They've taken a lot of that out as measured by our M2. And then we had a little bit of a confidence breather on some of the banks. Surprisingly, not surprisingly, the Federal Reserve did raise rates, even though that will add to or continue to fuel a little bit of fire on the confidence in banks as well as put pressure on the economy. But they took the initiative to, and which I spoke of here, they took the initiative to continue to fight inflation. So, dadgummit, I didn't keep this to under 5 minutes and I was trying to keep it short, but had a lot. This is heavy stuff. One last thing, if you're still with me, be sure that you're getting these and feel free to share them with someone. I put this in generic enough format that it's safe. I can't, but legally I can't do a lot of things in here, but we're doing a lot of informative things. We've picked up a lot of viewers. We're happy about that. This is certainly not a lecture. This is an educational, informative, and very much a diary, an electronic diary. So thank you very much. I'm going to close this out. I'll edit it tonight. We got it before the rain. I'm outside casual. It's a Sunday, like I said. That's why I didn't do a blow-up picture. We'll talk to you again soon. I know you get a lot at the end of the quarter, but thank you very much. Much appreciated.